This week we made Care Bears out of socks for our upcoming guild collaboration, Kaiju Part 2.
There are 4 things you need to be a Care Bear.
You need a themed belly badge.
You need hearts on your feet.
You need a heart-shaped nose.
You need a little red heart on your booty.
Before we get into making the bears, I'm going to show everybody how I tie knots because I've noticed a lot of crafty art YouTubers struggling with knot tying. I learned this from my dad. So I double up my thread because that way I can loop it through when I first start sewing. So I prep the thread, tie the knot, and then hook it underneath the fabric and then loop it through itself. And then it's already attached there. And then you do your sewing, and when you get to the end of the line, you loop it through again and tie little knots that way. But that gets them right up against the surface of what you're sewing, so you don't have to sit there and try to tie tiny little knots. It's so much easier. I've seen so many people cutting it off and trying to tie the little knots and trying to get it up against the fabric. And if you don't mind the stitches showing and you don't mind them being a little bit rough and ready, then this works really well. The way you lay out the sock is you flatten it out with the heel pointing up, and you flatten out the heel, kind of squish it in, and then you draw your shapes. We're going to sew in notches for the neck. We're going to also cut the arms and legs out of the top of the sock. So the part that's the cuff is going to be the arms, and then the part closest to the heel will be the legs. So you sew those seams, and then you cut them apart, and then you stuff them up. When you're making monkeys, you want to use socks that don't have open weaves because you're going to stuff it and the stuffing's going to show through. So avoid open weaves. Also avoid stretchy socks because stretchy socks are way harder to stuff and way harder to sew. If you're sewing, they can stretch and you end up with uneven, awkward stitches. It can break your needle if you pull too hard, trying to get it to move because the stretchy fabric doesn't move as easily. And when you're stuffing it, you end up kind of with the lumps because it doesn't hold its shape as well. When I'm making the monkeys and I'm doing the arms, I use the cuff of the sock for the arms. I did the same for this. It's the tippy top of the sock that goes on your calf because it's a nice clean edge that makes it a lot easier to sew onto the body. And who remembers Care Bears? Not you guys.
No, I remember them.
Because we watched them to prepare for this.
So Care Bears are the bears who care. They live in Care-a-Lot up in the clouds, and they have magic tummies that can make people care. Then this is the best part. This is designing all of the felt pieces that get attached. So Ty, what's your bear's theme?
I'm doing Patton as a Care Bear because I thought that would be fitting.
Patton from Sanders Sides, because you did 2 of the dark sides for the monsters for the first Kaiju video.
So what I did for my Patton Bear is I gave him glasses, I made him blue, and I gave him the little logo, the heart with the glasses.
Brilliant.
I also made him really happy. So.
What's yours, Sam? This one's yours.
I'm doing a gamer one.
Yep.
I put 2 different colored eyes on mine, and I put a pixelated heart on his belly.
Daddy helped cut that out, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing an art one. I think art gets you through a lot of dark times and helps people understand each other better, which is, I think, really important if you're going to be caring about how other people feel. It's a good way of communicating, and it can be any kind of art. It could be visual art or performing arts, but I'm doing a little paint palette here, stitching on all of the pieces. So you can see the little notch where the neck was, where I sewed in that area. And then I used the heel of the sock for the nose. For the bears, the heel went in the middle of the face and is rounder. They have different shaped noses. After you've stuffed the socks, you can kind of shape them. If you kind of squish them around and rub them around, you can shape the stuffing into things. I always use whip stitches when I'm attaching all of the felt because it's really easy. And I like the way it looks. I like that you can see the stitches. I think it gives it a nice homemade, handmade quality. This is how we made the little tufts of hair for their tops of their heads. They've got little yarn tufts. So we just brushed out the yarn until they were fuzzy and then sewed them on.
Belly badge.
Check.
Hearts on your feet.
Check.
Heart-shaped nose.
Check.
Little red heart on your booty.
Check.
I think they look great.
They look super cute. They're like little colorful bears.
Yeah.
Mhm.